and I think
No, it's not.
It's a shame.
It's not to be pampered. No, it's the opposite, right? The idea. So this is the faux idea of what the patriarchy is supposed to do, which is enable you to be a pampered princess. It's not. What the patriarchy is supposed to do is protect you so that you can fulfill your duties and responsibilities to society, and that would including reproduction and being matrons for the next generation.
I literally said be a mom and make sourdough starters. That goes hand in hand with being a traditional housewife.
Goes
makes
hand in
bread
hand with
for your
being pampered,
family.
being a pampered princess.
Have you ever made sourdough starters? If you think making a sourdough,
did you say anything about duty and responsibility? You know, you said
I said paint your nails, make sourdough, and be a mother.
They should get Post-it notes.
Be a mother and make sourdough. If you've never made sourdough, then you don't know how hard it is to keep that thing alive. And it's part of like making fresh bread for your family, making natural ingredients, meals that don't have toxic chemicals in them. I think that all goes hand in hand.
Those are making sourdough bread, stuff like this, the ingredients for it, with whatever your modern luxuries are, they're just that, they're luxuries. They're literally gifted to women by men. Modern luxuries are. Definitely women are not gifting women modern luxury. That's insane. The thing is that women have a duty and responsibility, an ethical duty and responsibility under Christian ethics to multiply, to have families, to reproduce. They have a duty under Christian ethics to raise the next generation correctly and be matrons to young women so that we don't have the problem of pornography and things like this. That's all gone. So as long as that duty is displaced from society for women, and instead all that's left is, well, I love the patriarchy as long as they give me a life of luxury. We have essentially, that's still just as regressive as the idea that, well, egalitarianism is bad and I would prefer the patriarchy because I get a life of luxury. They're equally bad. It's an equally bad way to view it, I think.
Well, I didn't say any of that. I think I think that because you think you know how women think, but it's not, oh, let's just have the patriarchy and do nothing. I'm very into traditional please. I'm very supportive of traditional relationships, especially like in Judaism. That's a huge thing, and that's something I've always been raised around. And if we're talking about, you wanted to bring up Christianity, then in Judaism, there's a lot where men are the leaders, but women are actually holier. They have a higher connection to God because of their ability to bring life into this world and everything around that. So to me, if you want to say that, like, it's just funny that these old-fashioned, what were commodities or just basic necessities, actually, being able to make bread, you had to make your own bread. Cleaning your home, women used to have to make their own cleaning supplies and be like somewhat chemists. So I think now it's seen as a luxury to have that time, and thankfully society has evolved in that front, but like, I don't know what impression or what made you think that I think that the patriarchy means that we get to sit home all day being a mom.
Because you started with, because we can paint our nails.
It's called a joke. You don't have to be so serious 24/7. You ever heard of a joke? Yeah. I think you'd like them.
Well, sure. But I mean, have you ever heard of a criticism, right? So the thing is like,
it's
whether you're saying it in a joking manner or not, right? It moves to the point that I'm saying, which is that in modernity, women seem to have a massive sense of entitlement, including the ones who say, well, I'm a traditionalist. It's like, really? Are you? Or are you looking for somebody who can provide you for a life of luxury? That's the question. And usually when you get to the nitty-gritty of it, when you look at what modern women want, they want a life of luxury and a man who can provide it. I don't hear them really talk about their duties and responsibilities. Like, what is your duty to society? Do you have one?
Yes.
I've said, like,
no, hers, yeah.
I've said maybe 50 times that I think being a mom is the best thing you could do, but this is why, and even though
you have a duty to be one.
Even though we're both conservatives, like, that's my ultimate goal in life. I think above any career or anything, being a mom and having a family, literally, this is not something you have to suck out of me. I say this on my social media every day, but this is why I have a problem with, despite us both being conservatives, this is something that I think for your own sake, if you really want to have impactful messaging and like continue to have people who maybe disagree, I don't disagree with you on most things, but even you, like, to actually listen to what you're saying, a lot of times when like people on the far right, or I don't think you're far right, but I do think that on our side of the aisle, you can very clearly tell that the way you're speaking of it from a place where like you genuinely have disdain or hard feelings towards women. It's not from a place of like, I love women, they're so amazing, we need to support them, make them mothers, we need to let them, like, we need to protect women at home. You're like, what's your duty to society? That doesn't sound like a mature man. at all. And like,
why do you think men's job is to
traditional.
kiss your ass? My job isn't to kiss your ass.
Who said kiss my ass? I said to actually want women to be mothers because we want to protect them.
I think you're disdainful to men. I think that you only care about materialism. I think that those are the values that you have, and you haven't said a word about duty. But yet, at the same time, your criticism to me is that if we even have a dispute or an argument, suddenly it's disdainful towards all women.
No.
I've raised women into the next generation. Have you? No. I've actually done it. And so the thing is like, before you make these insane criticisms about what the right should or shouldn't be, right, maybe you should learn things like, I don't know, basic libertarian economics and laissez-faire, even though you have a degree in political science, which is fucking insane, right? I think, personally, that what you are is a misandrist and a covert feminist in disguise, LARPing as a conservative, because that's what most of you do.
Yeah, I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I wasn't one, that's barbaric, but two, like I've literally been, to say that I'm an undercover feminist when I've literally gone head to head with feminists for 5 years, and all my content and everything I believe and preach about. Let me finish. How about that? Okay, let me finish talking. I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I wasn't linking. Andrew, can you shut up for 30 seconds and let me talk?
Like the patriarchy.
Andrew,
try. Supposed to be silent?
Can somebody mute him?
Andrew, just let her finish. Andrew, just let her finish. Go ahead, Deborah.
It's that loud.
Go ahead, Deborah.
I think you misunderstood what I was saying and took it as a personal criticism when I wasn't saying it as personal criticism. I was saying that what you're saying, I agree with the majority of what you're saying, and I think it would come across better, and that this is a disconnect between men and women, even on the same side of the political aisle, or people who probably share the majority of how they think society should be run, things like that. I really do think that. I think that this is a broken messaging, and I would wish that more people would listen to this message, and I think you don't realize listening to it, as somebody who does agree that it doesn't seem like it's coming from a place of we should protect women as a society, and their best thing that they, like, not their only thing, but women are mothers, that's their role in society, they're the matriarchs of society, and therefore we should protect them. We shouldn't force them to work. We shouldn't have to have them working 9 to 5s and being corporate slaves to their bosses who don't care about them. And I think the difference is coming from a place of genuinely loving women and understanding their importance to the world and to traditional relationships and traditional values and Christianity and everything alike. It seems sometimes that the disconnect in the messaging is that it's just coming from a place of like, you're a woman, you have a duty to do this, when rather, why do we have that duty? Like, not why do we have that duty aside from the religion, but like, where does it actually come from? Why do you truly believe that women should be protected or things like that? I just think messaging-wise, and this wasn't a personal attack, I think more people would listen and they should listen. It just doesn't seem so much like it's coming off right now from a place of like, women should be protected in sports, in the workforce, in homes, and everything alike. And that's all I was saying. I wasn't trying to personally attack you. And if you really think I'm a feminist, then that's very hysterical and you have a horrible character judgment.
Great. So can I respond now?
Go ahead, Andrew.
To all that prattle? So let me just respond and say, I think it's hilarious that you say, I heart patriarchy. And the second you're in a conversation with a man, the first thing you do is go, how dare you speak over me? I'm a proud and strong woman. Look at how great I am. You haven't spoken about duty at all. Yes, absolutely, you're a covert feminist. The idea here of what you're talking about is just pure tone policing. It's pure tone policing. I love your messaging, Andrew. I think you're totally right. Everything you're saying is completely correct. But if you used a different tone and kissed women's asses and packaged it in such a way that they thought you were kissing their ass, they might be more responsive to it. That's in opposition to what I want in society. What that does is it curtails truth. What that does is it makes it so that you can't actually deliver a message in its proper context, its proper form, because somebody might take offense. That is the opposite of what conservatives should be doing. And it is the opposite when you see conservatives doing that you see work. Case in point, Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump wasn't sugarcoating anything. He called women ugly dogs. He called women fat. He called them obnoxious. He called them all sorts of things, and he's the president of the United States right now. And women, in lieu, actually voted for him this time around. So the thing is like all this PC, politically correct, woke fucking nonsense of, Andrew, you must correct your tone, because when I attack you, I do it in a passive-aggressive way. And when you talk to me directly. I think it's bullshit. It's nonsense.
I think you just take everything I say, put it through a weird machine, and then like spew it out and think I said something completely different.
Yeah, the machine's called logic.
I never said, oh my God, you're talking over me. This highlights exactly what I think.
You're such a strong woman.
This is what I think. I think you just don't like women, and that your desire for this doesn't come from a place of you genuinely loving and caring about women and thinking that women are special.
You know? You can read my heart now.
The way that you're talking to me, you think that I had to freak out and said your time. I mean, you won't let me get 5 words out. It doesn't matter if I'm a woman or you're a man. It's called a debate and a conversation. And if you're not letting the other person get 5 words out, it doesn't matter about our gender. It matters. I don't know why you think that's crazy for me to ask you to be quiet while I respond to something that you said, or let me talk for 10 seconds without jumping over me when we can only hear one person at once. That's not, and of course you attribute that to me being a woman freaking out, but really just asking you to shut the fuck up for a second.
I'm gonna let
Right.
I'm gonna let.
Right, wait, hang on. You're gonna hit me with, I heart patriarchy until the people who you would consider patriarchs are speaking to you, and then suddenly the patriarchy should be disrespected. You should talk over it. You should be able to do whatever the hell you want, right? So the second we come into this, we find out that no, your true nature is revealed very quickly. It's just another entitled, like TPUSA girl, right, spewing a bunch of nonsense and trying to pretend that you're a conservative. You're LARPing as a conservative, covert feminism.
Okay, Groiper. This is just...
We're talking about marriage, right?
Wait, first of all, why are you calling me a Groiper?
Because this is like, you're everything you just said. Like, I literally, it's just so obvious. Like, do you want to rewatch what you just said? You're telling me because I asked you to be quiet while I was saying something because you wouldn't let me get a word out. That means that I'm a fake feminist, and because you're a man, that I should shut up and just listen to everything you say and say, yes, sir, absolutely. I know a ton of leaders who are patriarchs who are much better men than you are, and I don't know who you are personally, but I'm saying as you're acting now, I would never subscribe to you as a leader, but that doesn't make me a feminist. That makes me understanding of how great men can be. And I don't think this is a shining example, and I don't think everything you say is good.
This is actually perfect.
I think strong men should lead us, and if I had to make that choice about you, I don't think I would be in favor of it, but I think strong men protect women, and they care about women, and good luck to you.
This is actually perfect. So the idea here is actually that you're the leader, see? So the idea here is, wait a second, I get to determine who leads who. I get to determine where they lead them. I get to make all those determinations. After all, Andrew, if you were some kind of leader, I'd never follow you. So the idea here just moves into the regressive notion of feminism. It is all the responsibility with none of the authority. And when authority is exercised, the very first thing you do is rebel against it. So the very first thing you do is rebel against it. And so the thing is like, we can see this pattern over and over and over again with all of the LARPing conservative chicks. First thing you do is call me a Groiper. What the hell does Groiper ideology have to do with Andrew Wilson's ideology? Nothing. Complete straw man. Right? Made up because you were looking for a way to insult me. You didn't know what else to say, so that's what you said. Okay, Groiper. It's like,
and you're not trying to insult me by calling me an undercover femovest LARPing as a TPUSA girl?
I just let you talk. Now I can't respond. So anyway, so moving back into this, yeah, it just seems like total and complete covert feminism. It's exactly what I expect. Anytime I argue with one of the faux conservative babes online, it's always the same thing. The second you get to the heart of it, it's women should be protected. Women should have their asses kissed, right? But men should have the responsibility with none of the authority. So like here, let me give you a demonstration of this if I'm wrong. Do you think women should vote?
Yes.
Should they be able to vote to send men to war?
You mean voting on a draft?
No, just voting, period. If you vote,
I think women should be able to vote,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so send men are you eligible to be drafted?
I never registered for the draft, but that is a position. I know. I know because the ERA never passed, and that's a position I've held. That as an American citizen who has a right to vote, I think that women, even though as a society I don't think it would be helpful to send women to war, I understand my duty as an American that if America was in a war tomorrow and they said, you're an American, we need you to fight. This is my country, I want to defend it. But you say that I'm attacking you, but you called me a fake conservative. You said I'm an undercover LARP feminist. What makes you think I'm a fake conservative? What does that even mean? I have ideologies. How can I be a fake conservative when I've lived my life by the ideologies?
I'm pointing it out to you right now.
And how? What make what?
That if you say, for instance, that there should be egalitarianism, women should vote equal to men's vote, but women cannot be drafted and thus can vote to send men off to war, you're actually giving yourself a position of privilege in society that men do not have. Since this is the case, that you accept that there's privilege that women have, that men, on the other hand, do not have. You say, for instance, wait a second, I think it's my duty to get drafted. They're not going to send you to the front lines to fight. It's ridiculous. They never would. Our army would get crushed. So that doesn't even make any sense.
So you're
no, that's
pissed
hang on, I'm almost done. I just let you talk. That's not, first of all, it's not a conservative principle. It makes no sense at all, right? And again, this is the idea of men responsibility absent authority. Absent authority. It's still taking away authority. If you really wanted men to be an authority, why would you advocate women vote? That makes no sense.
Because I love voting, and I think women should vote.
Because you love voting?
Because I'm an active member of society. Okay.
Because I want to, Andrew, because I want to.
Well, this is what I mean when you take what I say and you put it, this is why I called you a groiper too. You don't think women should vote. You take what I say and you put it through a ringer it's not conservative to say that I would defend my country if we went to war because I agree with the values of American values, and I think that's worth defending if it were to come to war. But at the same time, I don't think it's a mark of a good society where women and children are protected and they're not sent to the front lines like they're doing in Ukraine right now. There have been a lot of women who've been drafted. There are situations like that. That makes me a fake conservative.
I don't think there's been...
Not drafting, they were trying to recruit women because they've been running so low on soldiers. Can you mute? Okay,
okay, so
I just knew,
just tell me.
you know.
I just want to answer my question.
What's your question when you take everything I say and flip it around?
If you really want men to have the authority and women to be the followers and men the leaders, men actually have the authority, why do you advocate for women to vote? Can you actually tell me that?
Is women not voting going to suddenly is that going to take away every single woman from a powerful position in this entire country? Because we're talking reality. We're not talking in floofy land where anything can happen right now. Why do you think women should not have the right to vote? Why do you think that?
I just told you. So if you advocate that men have the responsibility, right, but they don't have the authority, which I think you're advocating for. It's a progressive feminist viewpoint. If it were true that you wanted men to have the authority, right, and the responsibility, then you would advocate only they voted and not women. Can you actually give me an argument, any argument at all, for how that doesn't logically follow?
It doesn't line up with the original land owning and everything that was said in our Constitution to provide voting rights. The fact that women can own their own land right now. What?
Women couldn't vote.
I know, and when we changed and gave women the right to vote, I think that was a good thing. I think it got more women involved, and I think this ideology of yours, and again, why I called you a groiper, is because the majority of reason why far-right men do not want women to vote is because women tend to vote liberal. I voted conservative across the board. I voted Republican in every election, but I'm not going to defend my values that I know near and dear to my heart and the candidates that I've worked for, including Rob Astorino. I was on Trump's team on his coalition of Jewish voices. Across the board, I have helped Republican candidates get elected, so I don't really care what you have to say, whether you think I'm fake or not.
That's not an argument. Can I actually get an actual argument from you? Here's the argument.
No, that's my response to you.
If you actually want men to have authority,
so then we just
authority
that's what he is.
And responsibility, and women to follow that authority and not have responsibility, why would you advocate women voted? That makes no sense. Can you give me an actual argument?
The strongest response for this time is that the men right now, you know the old saying where good times create strong men, or whatever it is, good times basically create weak men. And I think we're in that time zone right now where if we were in the George Washington, are you going to let me finish? Thank you.
Go ahead.
If we were at a time where masculinity was very prevalent. I think this is a large issue where you have a sassy man apocalypse. We don't have men understanding what it means to actually be men. I think that if we were in a time zone where men were strong, true leaders, then we can go to that. But when we have men out here who are soy boys, they don't want to speak up, they support abortion, they think that they should just listen to whatever their wife should do, they don't actually think that a woman has a value, they think that they should be a stay-at-home dad, a lot of things like that. I think at this point in society that if we just handed it over to the men are having a lot of problems too. We can talk about lowering testosterone levels and everything across, hiring levels of anxiety and depression across the board, and I think it doesn't make me a fake conservative to say that I think there are good male leaders out there much better than you could ever be, and if you think you're compared to Donald Trump, that's funny.
That women need to lead.
Hold on,
Andrew. That women need to lead and usurp men's authority. That was literally what you just advocated.
Back in the day.
I can't believe you said that. I literally can't even believe
My grandpa's
you said
generation.
that.
One sec.
Believe it, bitch.
Deborah, I'll let you respond.